This is the AEW Collision May 3, 2025 full show results video which takes place at Adrian Phillips Theater at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey. The show started with a AEW Women's World Championship Eliminator match between Timeless Toni Storm vs Lady Frost. Both women then runs the ropes as Storm grabs Frost, but she is sent to the floor. Frost then flips off the apron, landing on Storm, then walks the barricade and does a somersault on Storm on the floor. Storm is down in the corner as Frost hits a cannonball on Storm. Frost then hits Storm with a forearm shot and then comes off the top with a huge spinning tornado. In the end, Storm hits hip attack on Frost and grabs Frost, then gets her in a body scissors and Frost submits, and Toni wins the match. After the match, Storm is lying on her back with a mic and says this tramp is still the champ. Storm then says there is a fresh back that wants to take a shot at her as everyone is gunning for her, but she comes for everyone. Storm then says she is not a hard woman to find. Storm then says she then runs around the ringside area and she could hear and she could be there. Storm then goes to the outside of the venue and says she is here and will always be timeless as her music hits. We then see Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir and Moxley says all the people close to him are dropping like flies. Moxley then says he is trying to find reasons not to like Joe and says Joe is beyond reproach and so is Bryan Danielson. Moxley then says the steel cage match is some notion that he is supposed to be scared. Moxley then says he is exceptional at his job and if you want to lock him in a steel cage, lock him. Moxley then says if there is the notion that he is supposed to be scared, then Joe better think things through. Then we saw a $100,000 high-speed collision four-way match between Sammy Guevara vs AR Fox vs Kevin Knight vs Rush. We see Fox grabs Sammy and runs the ropes, then Sammy takes down Fox with a huge dropkick. Sammy then leaps over the ropes as Fox moves and lands on Sammy. Knight and Rush then hit the ring as all four men take each other down. In the ring, Fox kicks Knight in the face as he makes his way in the ring. Hologram is then shown from the top of venue watching on. Fox is on the apron and then leaps up on the ropes and lands on Knight on the floor. Knight then charges at Rush as Rush picks him up and sends him flying onto the ramp. Fox then goes to the top and comes down, but Fox moves and then covers Sammy for only a 2 count. In the end, Sammy Guevara picks up Fox and hits him with the GTS to win the match by pinfall. After the match, Sammy points at Adam Cole at the commentary table, signaling he wants a future title shot at the TNT Championship. We then get a vignette of Samoa Joe saying what he will do to Jon Moxley in the steel cage match at Beach Break. Joe says he had to put this match in a cage and that Jon Moxley today does not have balls to get in the ring with a man like him and get into a firefight. Joe then says he will be the next AEW World Champion and make Moxley understand. Then we saw a match between Harley Cameron vs the Megasis Megan Bayne. Cameron charges right at Bayne and kicks her, then hits her with shoulder tackles in the midsection. Cameron then nails Bayne with big kicks and then charges at Bayne, but Bayne catches her and tosses her over her shoulders. Cameron then kicks Bayne in the head, but Bayne grabs Cameron by the hair and drags her to the corner. Cameron then fires back on Bayne with punches, then Bayne knocks down Cameron and picks her up and powerbombs her, then covers her for a pin but Harley kicks out at 2. In the end, Harley is up on the ropes and comes down, but Bayne catches her and delivered F5 to win the match by pinfall. After the match, Fort picks up Cameron as Bayne drops her on her face again. Bayne then grabs Cameron, but Anna Jay makes her way down the ring with a 2-4 and hits Bayne in the back, but it has no effect on Bayne. Bayne then charges at Anna who pulls the ropes as Bayne goes over the ropes. Bayne and Ford then leave the ring as Anna checks on Cameron. Arcady Ora is standing in the ring and AEW World Champion Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir show up and take out a couple of security guards before entering the ring. Shafir then intimidates Ora, who gives up the microphone and leaves the ring. Moxley then paces and says he heard what Samoa Joe said and then says he doesn't understand. Moxley then asks if Joe is going to kick his ass, then says he has faced all of the supposed baddest men in the business and they all said the same things Joe did until they weren't. Moxley then says they figure out that they are not in a chess match, they're in a war. Moxley then says it will be both when he faces Joe at Beach Break, then a graphic then lists Samoa Joe vs Claudio Castagnoli for Wednesday's Dynamite. Moxley then says he's been in a firefight this entire time and then drops the mic and makes his exit. We then go to the commentary desk and they are giving us a recap of the Outrunners being attacked last week by Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero. The Outrunners are then with Lexi Nair, issuing a challenge to Beretta and Romero. Then we saw a match between Brody King versus Josh Alexander. Brody chops Josh and hits him with multiple forearms and then sets up Josh on the top rope and sends him to the apron. Josh then sends Brody down. Josh then charges at Brody, but is caught and dropped to the floor with a Death Valley driver. Brody then chops Josh and sends him into the barricade, sending him over into the crowd. Then King picks up Alexander and suplexes him on the floor. King then chops Josh and places him down in the chair and then charges at Alexander, but he falls off the chair. Alexander then makes his way out and picks up Brody, but he gets out of the hold as both men exchange chops. Brody then grabs the arm of Alexander and chops him repeatedly. Then Josh comes back and drops the straps from his ring gear and slaps Brody. Alexander then nails King and applies an ankle lock, but King breaks out of the hold and drops Alexander with a big lariat. King then picks up Alexander and slams him as Alexander rolls out of the ring and the time limit expires, and match ended in a draw. After the match, Lance Archer makes his way out to check on Alexander. King then leaps over the ropes, taking out Archer and Alexander. Then King takes out security and Archer with a flying crossbody. Officials then come down to try to restore order as Alexander takes out the legs of King from behind. Archer then helps Alexander to the back as the officials send them to the back. Max Caster is in the ring and he says Atlantic City is looking at the best wrestler alive. Caster says he hopes they can do better next time they are in town and who can survive 5 with the best wrestler alive. The music of Daniel Garcia then hits as the former TNT champion makes his way down to the ring. Then we saw a match between Daniel Garcia versus Max Caster, and the result of this match was Daniel Garcia defeated Max Caster by pinfall. After the match, Garcia asks for a mic and calls out FTR saying he handled his business tonight and will talk to them afterwards. We then head to the back, where Lexi Nair is interviewing Billy Gunn and Anthony Bowens. Bowens runs down his 5 tools until he is then interrupted by Blake Christian and Lee Johnson. Lee then tells Bowens he is better than him and Bowens puts out the challenge to Johnson. Then we saw a match between Gates of Agony versus Ray Jazz and Goldie, and the result of this match was Gates of Agony won the match by pinfall. After the match, crew is shown at ringside as Gates of Agony begged them to come in the ring. Big Bill and Brian Keith then appear on the big screen from the parking lot, calling the Gates of Agony to come after them. We then have a brawl between Gates of Agony and Bill and Keith in the parking lot of the venue. A local wrestler then tries to break up the fight, but Bill takes him out as the fight continues with FTR's music hitting. In the main event of the show, we saw a 2 out of 3 falls match between FTR versus Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, and the result of this match was FTR defeated Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong by 2 pinfalls. After the match, Garcia comes to the ring with a mic and a crowbar and he says that he wants to beat them, but he can't because FTR was there for him. Garcia then says after what he did to Cope and almost broke his neck, he doesn't want to stand in the ring and have a therapy session. He then challenges FTR and Hathaway for next week and will beat the answers out of him. Garcia's music then hits as FTR and Hathaway leave the ring and the show goes off the air. How much you would rate this week's Collision show? Tell me in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe the channel for regular updates, and thanks for watching.